G'day, Justin Morris here from Mind Matters Athlete Coaching for another episode of No Baloney Bike Advice. You might remember on our last episode we started talking about cycling clothing, and specifically we stuck to the articles from the waist down, and we uncovered that cycle clothing has become quite a quagmire of baloney these days, and trying to work out what's good and what's not has become quite a challenge. So hopefully you've seen the last episode and you've been riding around with your legs covered up when the temperatures are cold. You've maybe got some coverage over your shoes, and you maybe even have some deep heat or goanna oil on those legs on those crispy mornings. But anyway, now we're going to go and focus on the waist up. Of course, this is an important part of the body. These are all the organs in here. Organs very important for sustaining life and for enabling performance on the bike. First article of clothing we're going to have a look at covers a bit of the bottom and the top half, and it's something you'll see quite a lot in time trial races, which is a race where it's just you racing against the clock, and also maybe short criterium races. This is called a skin suit or a onesie. See, it's all just one piece, one article of clothing. These are great and offer a real big speed improvement if you're in a time trial or a short criterium. But that's about it. They enable a lot more speed, but in every other department, not a great idea. I see some pelicans out there doing long road rides, even long road races, mountain biking in these things. It's not a good idea. Look, it is not a comfortable thing to wear. It's designed for speed. If you ever got to use the lavatory whilst you're wearing one of these things, becomes an absolute logistical nightmare. So, skin suits, very good, not baloney. They make you a lot faster, but just for a short period of time. Use them in what they're designed to be used for, not for your regular riding. Next article of clothing, very, very important, not baloney at all. And I see a lot of people, unfortunately, beginners, get given some bad advice into this sport, and they think, oh, beauty, cycling. I'll get myself one of these fancy cycling jerseys. I'll just slap that on, even if it's only 5 degrees outside, and then maybe I'll slap a jacket over the top. You're missing the most important layer. Most important layer next to your skin. The undershirt, or underdog, as we sometimes call them, sits right next to the skin, keeps you warm when it's cold, and when it's hot it actually enables a bit more cooling effect because it wicks some of the sweat away from your body. So no matter what the temperature is, unless it's really, really hot, wearing an undershirt is actually a very good idea. You can get sleeveless ones, you can get short sleeve ones, you can get long sleeve one. Underdog, undershirt, not baloney at all. Another thing, quite important, and again, for some reason, in the past 5 to 10 years, wearing no gloves, having bare hands while cycling, in specifically whilst racing, has become a thing. For what reason, I don't know. Cycling, especially road cycling, is an incredibly dangerous sport. And when you crash, the first thing that's going to hit the ground is your hands, generally, because you freak out, crikey, try and punch the ground with the hands. It doesn't end well. Subsequently, for donkey's years since cycling began, people have been wearing gloves. So if we've been doing it for hundreds of years, it's probably a good thing. Gloves are not baloney. Use your gloves, no matter what the temperature. If you're racing or you're in a situation where you think it's a high possibility I might have a Humpty Dumpty, then covering up the hands, short finger gloves, great idea. And if it's cold, this is a whole nother kettle of fish. But when it's cold, even more important. What do your hands do while cycling? Bugger all, really. They're sitting there. You might change a few gears, pull on a few brakes. There's not a whole lot of movement enabling circulation into the hands. So these things get very, very cold. These are the extremities of the body, which we chatted about when we were talking about our feet and our toes. So wearing gloves when it's cold, very, very important. Specifically, if you live somewhere extremely cold like I do, wearing a proper windbreaker glove can really make your ride a lot more comfortable and avoid nasty things that you don't want to experience, like frostbite, dried out hands, and cracked skin on your hands. not good at all. Next article of clothing, pretty crucial one, the jersey. Now this is kind of the bog standard, and there's one, again, like the bottom half of the cycling outfit jerseys, there is 1,000,001 clothing brands to choose from these days, all telling you about these fancy different things that make up their jersey and try to make them different from anything else. A jersey is a jersey. Try it on, make sure it fits. That's why it's better to buy it from a shop than from an online proprietor. You get to try it on, make sure the thing fits. But you can't really go wrong with a jersey. I mean, honestly, look at the thing. It's very thin. The main purpose is covering yourself up, obviously, so you're not riding around in the nutty. But the other main reason you're going to use a jersey is you get these pockets behind you here. Now, another thing I have seen increasing trends of, frame bags on bikes, people riding around with bum bags on, even backpacks and things like this on short rides. Long rides, bike packing, I get it. Frame bags and things like that are a great idea. But these jerseys were designed to be able to fit everything you need for a ride of up to, even 4, 5, 6 hours. You shouldn't really need to carry anything more than what you can fit in there. You get your spare tube, you get your multi-tool, you get your CO2 canister or a pump in there, you get some food, you get your phone, bit of money so you can top up the food maybe later on in the ride. But use those pockets. That's what they're there for. No need to go and buy frame bags and all this kind of baloney. But jerseys, important. The fancy ones that cost like $600, not a great idea. Use your pockets. Another thing in cycling. Next thing we're going to go to, the arms. Arms are not really important in cycling when it comes to your performance. You don't pedal with your arms. Subsequently, you'll see a lot of professionals who, before they decide to put anything covering their arms whilst training, the legs will come first. This is the crucial part of the body where all the action happens as far as making the bike propel forward. But if it is kind of cold and you're getting some discomfort in your arms, this great thing, the arm warmer. Gone out of fashion a bit recently. People seem to like to buy the big winter jackets like I'm wearing here instead of using the arm warmer. But the arm warmer is great because if you're living somewhere where maybe it's cold in the morning and then it's going to warm up, you can slap this thing on, and then as it gets a bit warmer later in the day, you can roll it down and then chuck it in those pockets that I mentioned, or even under the jersey. So arm warmers, they're handy. They're not baloney at all. Next thing we're going to chat about, keeping the organs warm. Organs are very important, like I said at the beginning. So there's a couple of articles of clothing that can help really keep this engine room of the body functioning, particularly when it's cold. The first one is called the gilet, which is the fancy, wanky French term for what is a vest. Now this thing you can slap on. It's essentially an extremely thin but wind protective material. It's designed to block out the wind from getting into the abdomen there and getting that part of the body cold. Here's something that I learnt early on in my time, because I didn't have many coins to rub together, that did the same thing as that vest and was actually even better. Cost you about 15 cents. Get it from the local servo or the local grocery store. You grab this, shove it up your blouse there, and then, hey presto, done the same thing as that $200 vest that you could have spent the money on. Now the benefit of using the plastic bag, another good one is newspaper, is you can use this at the beginning of the ride, then say, hey, you might have a big ride on the program, gets a bit warmer later on, you can chuck it out from underneath the blouse and chuck it into the bin, and then you're good to go without that excess weight of having to carry a vest around for the rest of the ride. Alright, we've about covered that now. The other thing, this is the most important thing in life, most important thing in cycling, the noggin. We've got to take care of this thing. And what leads to that noggin is your neck. This is a cool article of clothing, not Baloney. You can probably find one for under $10. It's like a snood, and it's popular in cold parts of the world, but you can just slide this over your noggin and it's going to keep your neck warm. The neck is an often overlooked but very important part of the body when it comes to cycling, because it can get very, very cold, and this is the connector between where you're getting the air into your body, into your engine room. The air comes through the nose, through the mouth, and down through the neck. If this thing's exposed and it's incredibly cold, then that air isn't getting down to the engine room in a very comfortable or functional manner. So a snood, very cheap, very effective, not Baloney at all. So get some of that happening. Next thing, the top of the head. You see I've got my little cap on here, my little Mind Matters cap. These caps are actually a good idea, no matter if it's hot or cold. If it's hot, you're getting a little bit of extra sun protection on front of your noggin. You can get incredibly burnt on the face while cycling. And when it's cold, a lot of the heat from your body escapes through the top of your head, especially if you have a receding hairline like myself. So keeping this part of the body covered when it's cold is incredibly important. A good proper beanie, you can get cycling specific ones, again not expensive, that cover your ears and the top of your noggin. They're going to be very beneficial and keep you going when it's cold outside. So I hope I've helped you out a bit with your shopping decisions when it comes to your cycle clothing. At the end of the day, function over fashion. You'll save yourself some dollars, and then you'll still be as fast and perform as best as you possibly can on the bike. If you've got more money than you know what to do with and you want to splash it around and help stimulate the economy, then by all means, buy the fancy vests, buy the fancy jackets, buy all the fancy pants, jerseys. Go for it. I endorse that as well. But just trying to give you a bit of an idea as to what's Baloney, what's going to help you, and what's not going to help you in cycling. So cheers for listening. I'll see you out on the road or the trail.